All right. Good morning and good afternoon and good day or good evening. Whenever you find this practice, welcome to Yoga with Simone. New location. And good morning. Hopefully the sound is okay. Good afternoon. Hey Bella. Welcome. And hopefully the sound is okay. All right, guys. For today's practice, which we're going to get started in about 2 minutes, I'll give it just a little bit of time. Grab yourself 2 blocks. If you're like me and you're on the road, you see that I've made up a second block with a rolled up towel, which I've talked about in previous practices. But yeah, so it gives it a bit of height and I can use it for our practice. We're going to be yinning today, so a rolled up towel will be foundationally enough support for a yin practice today. Bella, you going to be good and not take off? If you're ready to go, have yourself a little lie down. And, oh, there's butterflies. There's no music playlist, by the way, today because I'm in nature and wherever you are, even if you don't get to be in nature per se, I want you to just be with your surroundings, if that's all right by you. Take it in. I'll go this way. We're going to get lying down. Props nearby. Find a little bit of support. And we're going to bring the soles of our feet together, knees wide. And that'll be a starting position for us today. If you need a little bit of support underneath the knees or thighs, you can bring your props there to help out so that you can really satisfyingly lay into this space. And as far as the mind goes, just concentrate if there is to concentrate on anything, the start of your inhale all the way to the top, the start of your exhale all the way to emptying to the bottom of that exhale. And right about now, more than halfway through the first pose here, Supta Baddha Konasana, just noticing what has shifted in the opening of your body. So maybe the hip creases are a little more open, maybe the inner thighs are a little more softening and relaxed. Maybe the glutes are softening. About another minute of time here. And however your knees and thighs are falling open, just bring your hands towards the outer thighs, outer knees. And on an inhale, help your knees close like a book. And on an exhale, step your feet wide and your legs long. And let your big toes fall open towards the sides of your mat. I like to put my hands to my hip creases and just notice. Notice whatever opening I broke through into. And then bring your arms overhead and wake up your body. So you're going to draw your legs together, point your toes, point your fingers, breathe in space, and soften that reach, breathe out. One more time, stretch, inhale. Point, reach, stretch, and then exhale, soften. Slowly take a seat up. And then take your prop, whichever prop you'd like to use. If it's your block, situate your block at a medium height, kind of behind you to catch where your shoulder blades will lay down on. And for your second prop, either put it lower or at the same height of that first prop, vertically ahead of the prop that's going to catch your shoulders. So you can see that your second prop, in my case it's a rolled up towel, is going to catch my head. And just like the other two practices this week, this is a 30-minute offering today. So we're we're here in these yin poses for a little bit of time, maybe not as long as we would in an hour class. And we may do a little less in the way of how many poses fit into this 30-minute practice, but just to give you an idea of, even in a yin practice, we can find 30 minutes to deliberately and skillfully but softly open up in yin. And because this can be a pretty intense posture to get into, it's a supported fish pose. I call it open heart for yin. Just right away throwing your exhales towards it and allowing for your body to be receptive to the opening. You'll feel the thrust of your chest being more open and your center line, space in between the chest at the center, just kind of finding a little more space as time edges forward. And as we become receptive, throwing ourselves over to the support of our props underneath our back body. That space will half an inch or inch become a little wider in the center of the chest. Even though you calmly breathe in and out through the nose and follow the breath from the beginning in to the end out. See if you can add on a gentle part of the upper jaw to the lower jaw. See if you can feel your eyeballs heavy almost to the back of your head. And enjoy the last minute from that place. If your eyes are closed, just a nice soft opening. Put your hand behind your head. Pick up your head a little higher than your heart. And then squeeze your belly. And hold on to the edges of your mat as you sit up. And lie back down onto a flat back, removing your props from behind you just so you can get situated in Shavasana, palms face up. After a breath or two, you'll get back up to a sit. And take one of your props. If you're working with a nice, juicy, rolled up towel, you can place it behind you a little lower than the prop that caught your shoulder blades was. And you'll also place it horizontally so that when you lay back down, it thrusts open your ribs to push your ribs up to the sky, and it meets your thoracic spine. You might need to play around with high or low so that it feels more comfortable to you. And you'll want to also make sure that your bum is on the ground and that your head is relaxed on the ground. And then take a few really generous breaths to sweeten the opening across and through and down the midsection. Almost as though prying open your rib cage with breath. Just allowing yourself to be present to whatever is in your space so that there's an awareness without attaching to it. So you may hear your home busy around you. You may hear stuff in your neighborhood. You may even be aware to the sounds in my space with sprinklers, the leaves rustling in the wind. And with that awareness, just showing up to the now. Notice if you're generous with your breath, how it impacts the shape, how it lets you in a little deeper. Can you accept that invitation of your breath? Take another 1, 2, or 3 more breaths. Essentially whatever's available to you. And then to get out of the pose, again, you'd put your hand behind your head. You'd lift your head and chin a little higher than your heart. And grab the outsides of your mat, ground down through the elbows, and sit up slow. And then you're going to want to remove whatever prop is behind you and lay back down on your mat, flat back, just to receive Shavasana in a kind of neutral setting, whatever's available. Come back down to that. And take another deep breath in on your back and out. And then put your feet on the mat so that your knees look straight up to your sky, ceiling, wherever you may be. Feel a little grounding here. And then maybe step your feet a little wider and knock your knees in. It's a little helpful for the lower back as you ground down. And then from here, we're going to take one of our props. If you're working with blocks, grab those. If you're working with your rolled up towel or 2 rolled up towels, maybe you're going to find an opportunity to layer the towels on top of one another. For a block at medium height, you're going to separate your knees, feet hip width distance, and lift your bum high enough to sneak your prop underneath your sacrum, to ground your sacrum onto the prop. This should feel kind of nice after our last pose. Not without its confrontation of sorts. So as long as you're not in any kind of sharp pain, you can explore sensation and stretch and even a little bit of discomfort. If you're in anything kind of sharp, you're going to want to adjust, maybe adjust the height of the block or where it's landing on your back body. Underneath your back body, I should say. And then notice if you're looking for something more immediate, especially if you're really open. Sometimes folks that are open in their practice are always kind of trying to inch a little further into something. And you miss, if that's you, sometimes you'll miss the simplicity of what's being offered. So it doesn't have to be a big gesture in the way of sensation. Even if there's a little something there, can you just hear it? Stay with it. If you'd like a little more, you can take your arms overhead. Relax the arms so that there's a bend in the elbows and you can rest your arms to the ground. Softly opening what's across your shoulders, chest, body, and collar area. And if you want even a little more after that, you can lengthen your legs and rest your heels on the mat. For some bodies, it may be just enough, depending on the day, to be with bent legs. I'm going to choose that journey for myself today. Part your jaw, soften your gaze or close your eyes, and take one big generous inhale and exhale. And then if your legs are long, you're going to want to bend one leg at a time to put the soles of the feet on the mat. If your arms are overhead, you're going to want to bring your arms back, palms face down to ground onto the mat. And then with one hand, start to put that hand to the block, press into the feet, feel the squeeze of the bum, lift the bum up and sneak your prop out, whether block or towel or towels. Set your butt down, walk your shoulders up a little bit, the length of your mat. And then lengthen your legs, feet pretty wide apart. Shavasana. Can take your left or right arm overhead and roll onto that side body, left or right side body. Maybe the one that faces your monitor. Find yourself a little fetal position, curl in. And then use your top arm, your top hand in front of your face and press up into a seat for a beat. Get yourself onto your hands and knees. And you can round your spine into cat pose from tabletop. Come out of cat pose to flat back and then round again. It should feel kind of nice if you do that a couple of times. Flat back, round again, cat pose. And then let yourself come into a child's pose. You can do knees wide, or if you want a little more on your spine, knees together, round in. You should especially notice if you have your knees together that if you're generous with the breath, it's going to help the stretch across the length of your spine. And it's because of that breath that you're able to stretch a little more. The breath from the inside stretches your body to the outside. As that breath fights for a little bit of space within your body and into the pockets of space in your spine. And just hanging out there for a couple more breaths. We're going to stretch our arms long and come into a tabletop. And then right away, curl the toes under and go to down dog. And we're just going to hold down dog for a nice little bit of time here to feel the components of the stretch in the back body and the opening of the hips from that Supta Baddha Konasana at the front end of our practice. And then here's the invite, gang. Here's the invite. How long do you want to be in this downward face dog? And can you balance the effort throughout your body? So your legs are strong, your arms are strong. You're perching your hips up high, your sit bones are reaching up and back. You might travel a little bit more effort in as you spin your elbows inward and ground through the pads of the fingers and mounds of the hands and feet. And you might just lift your toes and spread your toes wide and then tuck your belly in so that the navel picks up towards the sky. Maybe even tucking your chin in and glancing to your navel. So that you can really feel the hug of your belly in for 3, 2, and 1. Option to stay a little longer or make your way down and into your final Shavasana. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday or any day that you find this practice. Enjoy the space you've put into your back body, spine, and front body, heart. Deep breaths in and out for a little more space along the way. Namaste.